for the Water Pollution Control Authority, May 18th. Let the record show we have a quorum. And I will start with the call to order. Bills and communications on the agenda. Do I have any proposals to change the agenda before we start? Seeing none, the first order of business is the approval of the April 13th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. I have a motion from Matthew and a second from Chris. Anybody? Ron, you have any comments? Chris, comments, changes?
Nope, read it, looks good.
Oh, okay. That being said, I'll take a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Sheila, Matt, Chris, Ron, and myself. Okay, the first order of business is new business, the sewer adjustments. We'll start with 92 Woodside Circle. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjust the sewer bill utilizing the prior year usage times 5%, which is the 2021 rate increase. This will be $773.77, as the property owners have already paid $1,943.04. They will be entitled to a credit of $1,169.27. This can be as a credit to their account or refunded to the homeowner at their discretion.
Okay, I have a motion.
I have a second.
I have a second from Chris. Discussion? Nope. Hearing none, let's bring it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. The next order of business is 178 Kings Highway Cutoff. Again, it's a request for a sewer adjustment.
Yeah, I'll make
Do I
a
have a
motion.
motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion on that to adjust the sewer bill to a minimum of $150. As the property owner has not paid any fees to date, the property owner will be responsible to pay any statutory late fees that have been accrued.
Do I have a second? Second from Matt. Any discussion from the commission?
I would just like to note that since he hasn't paid it, I would say we are being very nice on adjusting his fees without any payment. I'm sincerely hoping he pays this, and we don't have to keep charging late fees and incur more costs. But I will vote in favor.
Okay. The third item on the agenda,
Did you vote?
we voted unanimous, didn't we?
I don't know if we did.
Okay, let me call for a vote then. I'm sorry. All those in favor of making this, accepting the motion? Aye. Okay, unanimous? Sorry, Chris. Okay. The third item for a sewer adjustment is 761, 763 Valley Road. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjust the sewer bill utilizing the average Fairfield usage of 105 CCFs multiplied by the current rate of $483. At the rate payer has already paid in the invoice amount of $2,185.92. A credit of $1,702.92 can remain on his account or be refunded at his discretion of the ratepayer.
Thank you, Ron. Do I have a second?
Second, Chris.
Discussion? No, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Welcome.
The next item on the agenda is to hear, consider, and act on a request to increase the I&I fees. There's a supporting document that was attached to the agenda. I'd like to open it up, well, at least, I need a motion at least to, discuss the potential increases to the I&I rates.
I'll put a motion to consider an act on request to increase the I&I rates.
Thank you, Chris. Second, Matt?
Yep.
Okay, I'll open it up for discussion.
So, just looking at it on where, kind of as a contractor, where our cost is going up, our costs are going up significantly. And John, I'm assuming that yours have gone up also for I&I and so I'm agreeing with trying to adjust something here. And kind of, you know, what I add is, John, what do you think would be reasonable or fair just to try to keep up with what we have, to try to keep the same service and what we're doing?
No, nobody wants to see an increase, but I think 15%'s gotta be the minimum.
I agree.
Okay, and just let me mention that, Mark, who couldn't be here tonight, was even higher than that at 20% with his recommendation, just based on the costs of materials. I mean, this is a discussion document that I put together that's in front of us. I didn't go that high, but I just wanted everybody on the board to understand that Mark was also interested, that he could not be here, he's traveling right now.
Right. I agree with John. I mean, 5 and 10, I don't think cut it. I think out of these numbers, 15 is where my head's at, and I actually could be easily talked into Mark's suggestion of 20% just based on construction costs, material costs, inflation, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's my personal take.
I see, I don't know, I hate to keep increasing, you know, it's like, I know costs have gone up, and I know things are more expensive, but I just hate to keep increasing everything and having people pay more. But, you know, I think it would be interesting to look, because how many one-bedroom and studio apartments are we seeing going on in the town? It seems like there's a lot more going on. Would it be worth increasing to try to make up, instead of going a full 20, which I think, my view is, that's pushing it for me. I think 15% is reasonable. I hate to keep, you know, pushing it. I'm not disagreeing, costs have gone up. And I hate to cut your feet out and say, well, now you're gonna have to do less, but I don't know, I think we gotta have a balance, but is it worth looking at one bedrooms and trying to make one bedroom studios and 2-bedroom apartments all the same? I don't know. So, and make up with it a little bit that way?
Taking a quick step back, I mean, this is all related to new construction.
Right.
So, I mean, when new people are entering into an existing system, sometimes the system can handle it, other times it needs to be upsized. These fees help to that upsizing, increasing capacity, increasing infrastructure, reducing I&I, all the type of things that allow for more flow into the system. And those are substantial construction cost items also. And so, I mean, ultimately it ends up being either higher rates to existing customers or higher rates to new.
Yeah, but also I think we gotta look at too is that as a builder, these get passed on too.
Sure.
So, it's gonna be the end user that's paying them, or it's gonna be increased, and I hate to make everything so unaffordable that people can't be here that should.
Around the Metro Center, just a ton of construction. And what are they? 1-bedroom studio.
Right.
It's a cheap, it's a bargain.
Right, yeah.
It's a bargain at what they're paying.
Right.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you build it?
Well, also, I mean, we're talking about $300 from 5 to 15%.
But I
Not
think,
even.
I hate to say it, a person that gets 1 bedroom and a person that gets a 2-bedroom, in my mind, they're probably about the same person. It's just they're paying more for it. They're the same people that are in a 1 and 2 bedroom, in my view.
Well, maybe initially, but then if they have for resale and whatever, a 2-bedroom can theoretically have 3, 4 people. Yeah, that's the issue.
I know.
Yeah,
No,
there's
I
twice
know.
as many flushes.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just trying to see.
Yeah, no, I
just see
understand
it.
your point.
I just hate to have, I just see it as that I'm always looking to try to make things cost reasonable, because most of the stuff gets pushed right on to the end user.
Oh.
And all I see is pricing going up, it gets pushed onto the end user, it makes it unaffordable for regular workers to be here. And that I do have an issue with, but I think we gotta increase them, and I would rather look at 15% and maybe make up the difference by adding up.
Let me just say, we could do different percentage increases.
Sure, yeah.
Just
Across
think
each
about
one,
that
right,
also.
exactly.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
we could, because we're seeing much more one-bedroom and studio units, we're seeing at Metro, that whole metro area or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right,
That seems to be the area where we're charging $24.50 right now.
right,
That's,
It's a bargain.
which is beyond the bargain.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
Which is-
so we don't have to do all, one size fits all. We can do different
Right.
levels.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
We're not seeing a lot of three-bedroom units right now.
and I was gonna say, just, I mean, looking at these, yeah, I think the one-bedroom studio cost is just entirely too low.
Right, and that's always been the lowest.
Especially, I mean, to Chris's point about how two-bedroom is nearly double the cost. It could be twice as many people, but to his point, it's not always twice as many people, so.
Do we wanna go one by one?
I put a motion out there to increase 15% on residential, increase 25% on one bedroom, which would bring you up to $3,052.50. Increase 15% on two bedroom, and increase 15% on three bedroom.
So let me summarize that for Ron. Ron, residential single, two-bedroom, and three-bedroom would go up, proposal on the table is for 15%. I don't think I got a second on that, by the way.
I second
Okay,
everything, Chris.
Matt seconds that. Discussion.
There we go.
Residential single, two-bedroom, and three-bedroom unit up 15%. One-bedroom / studio up 25% from current fees is on the table right now, Ron.
All right.
I just wanna make sure.
I look back, the last time we did an increase on this was in 2020. I recall.
That is correct.
Yeah. August of 2020.
It's also correct.
I hate to say it, probably the costs have gone up
Oh,
more than
way more,
15% from
yeah.
there,
Yes.
so.
Well, this is more of a fee that the developer has to pay, right? Or he's passing it on to the consumer, I guess.
That is correct. The
Ultimately, they're
developer,
paying.
the developer pays the fee to the town, and then what he does with that is between he and his client.
Yeah.
If they're doing, multi-family, like duplex, what's that considered? Is a duplex considered residential, single family, or is it, depends on the bedroom?
At the bedroom.
Bedroom.
It depends on the bedroom,
Right.
okay.
Okay, 15, 25, 15, 15, okay.
Say it again. I'm okay with the residential single. What did you have for one bedroom studio unit?
One bedroom studio was 25%, which the fee would go up to $3,052.50. And then the two bedroom would be 15% at $4,886, and three bedroom would be 15% at $7,330.
Go back to the one bedroom again. The new fee would be what?
The one bedroom
Okay.
studio,
You don't-
new
you don't-
fee, 25% increase,
Okay.
which would be, in my calculation,
really
$3,052.50, Ron. And that was, I took the 2442, which I'm assuming they're being charged now, is the 2442,
Mhm.
is that correct?
Yeah,
That's what-
2450.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We rounded it.
So I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there, I'm not opposed to 20%, I don't know,
I like those
I'm
numbers.
pushing it, but I think 20% would be pushing it, but maybe this gives you a little flexibility.
I agree that it's got to be increased. I'm not feeling comfortable yet because if I look at the proposed fee, the current system is 3,674, and at 20%, it's saying the new fee would be 4,409. Correct?
Hey,
So-
hang on, wait, hey, Ron, whereabouts are you now? On the, what,
I'm in the
What-
one-bedroom
what-
studio.
On the one-bedroom studio. Ron, what I had to do, to get it up there, the current fee is $24.50, but I had to do some logic where I had to change the amount of people to two and a quarter people. That's where you're coming up with the $36.74, to keep it
Okay.
consistent. I had,
Okay,
right now, the number of people in a one-bedroom studio was 1.6.
Oh, okay.
So that's where you're seeing it. I had to make an adjustment to keep it in line.
okay.
That's the confusion.
And I'm
So-
okay
so
with
Chris's
it.
math
I'm
is
okay
right.
with the 25% increase.
Okay, his math is correct at 3052.
that's 2442, not 2450.
Right, I mean,
So we gotta,
yeah, I rounded it at that $8.
It's easier to say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which is, so I mean, the difference between a one-bedroom and a two-bedroom is about 1,800.
Right,
Which
that's.
makes more
we had to
sense,
make-
I
and-
feel like.
And it makes sense with the number of the gallons,
Right,
the people. That's
exactly.
how I had to
Right,
make
yeah.
it work.
and
I'm
then
okay
that
then.
would be more in line with the rest of the family,
Right, exactly.
1,800, which
Yeah.
is the same as.
Okay, Ron, did you understand that, how it was done?
yeah, I understand it. I'm okay with it now that you've kind of explained it to me.
Okay.
We don't need a public meeting on this one, right?
Yeah, we're gonna vote on this one.
Okay,
We're not gonna vote on the rates, because we have to have a special meeting for the rates. But
yeah,
this one is item B, to hear, consider, and act, and we have a motion on the table for a 15% increase on the residential single, a 25% increase on the one-bedroom studio, 15% on the two-bedroom, and 15% on the three-bedroom. That's the motion on the table.
And I second.
We had,
Okay.
John-
I'm just trying to explain to Ron.
John, you're comfortable with that to keep up the same maintenance and I and I?
Absolutely.
Okay.
okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, I'm gonna call the motion for a vote. All those in favor of raising the rates as proposed in the motion?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous? Okay, John?
Very good.
One item on the,
Okay.
hey, Joe?
Um,
Joe,
Ron, you're breaking up again, please?
can you hear me now?
Ron, you're breaking up.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, I was
I
gonna
can hear you
say
now,
is
Rob.
that the policy we have on the books right now that was updated on August 26, 2020, we probably ought to update that with a new revision and new rates.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, moving on to discuss the proposed sewer rate increase for fiscal 2020, it's actually 2023. Fiscal 2022 is what the town would call it, but it's next year. Really, as a matter of background for anybody who hasn't been through the process, we have to have a public meeting to discuss it, and that meeting will be probably in August. We have to have the rates to the vendor who puts it in the system and generates the bills in September. But we wanted to put it on the agenda tonight to have an initial discussion. Okay? So really, if I could just give a little more background, really what happens is we cover the department expenses, we cover the bond payment, interest and principal that's outstanding, plus we look forward to the next few years as we develop this. And we also consider potentially increasing our reserve. Those are the three items that the rate covers.
Right.
Okay? What happens is basically using the $4.60 rate that is current, we generated $7.3 million with the average user, et cetera. And John's budget for this year, gross budget is $7.1 million. So the current rate, based on the current usage, actually covers the budget. okay? Just so you have some idea of where we are. We typically have a little play. I purposely mentioned the gross budget we cover, because the net is really what we're trying to cover. So there's a difference between $400,000 and $500,000 from the fees that we just talked about, between the gross and the net, okay? So we're actually, at this point, if I use the example for this year, we're probably generating about $700,000 extra dollars using $4.60. I want you to understand that, because that gets into your discussion about fees. Now, this is for the town ratepayers, so this is the actual, our neighbors. So I wanted you to understand how it was developed and what we're theoretically covering in costs. Okay? So what I did, and there's one other thing that I learned from past experience. For some reason, we've always did it on a nickel increase. So it's $4.60, so $4.65, $4.70, $4.70. We don't go into the pennies for some reason, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. Nobody could ever explain it to me. But I laid out the potential increases based on a nickel per,
Right.
and that's why you're seeing those strange rate increases on the, it's not 5% and generate to $4.72. It's, here's $4.70, and this is what the increase is.
Now, we recently, a few meetings ago, did have a discussion to start this whole thing about, like, the capital plan, like the upcoming projects and stuff. And so, is that, because that was eye-opening as far as
Where
what
the
we
money
should be
goes,
doing.
right.
Well, and also, I mean, so it's good that we have a lot of reserves now, but if you look at our capital plan, that's gonna be gone and
5
then
years
some.
from now, those dollars, that $13 million is spent.
Right, exactly,
On-
which is why we need to,
Right.
like,
Why we-
doing nothing would put us in a lot of trouble in 5 years.
Correct,
So,
correct. That's the.
I guess I wanna make sure that when, at this August meeting, that information is well communicated,
Mhm.
because anybody who's like, why, you've got a ton of reserves, why are you increasing our rates, understands that looking ahead, so that we're not gonna have to propose a 20% rate increase in 5 years to gigantic capital costs.
John, does this cover, does the budget have something in it for a outside or a inside person to look at, or to review plans, or an engineer, or someone to start looking at these?
Consulting engineer.
The good thing that is happening is they put in next year's budget a project/construction manager. And we interviewed, and we think we found a person who's an engineer that will be on board for the WPCA.
Oh, great.
This person happens to be a she, tentatively, and she would be responsible for projects that are going on, that are coming up, budgeting, talking, planning, everything. Coordinating, so, and I mean.
Good to hear.
And this would be an internal then, so
This would-
we don't even have to do the consulting engineer.
She would be at the
RFP thing,
plant,
Okay.
she would have a phone number right to her, and
Yeah.
she would be, I keep saying she hasn't been hired yet.
Right, yeah.
They're gonna offer it, I think, but
Good,
it's a home run.
Okay.
that's, could help out.
Great experience.
And that's in the budget,
Don't mention anything. This is a public meeting.
Yeah.
and that's in the budget.
That's in the budget for July 1.
Okay, good. And we don't have to do, so like, you don't have to go and adjust the prior budget, because this budget, I'm assuming, is for, or, no, sorry, the
July 1 is the first day of the new year.
Thank you.
We're on a
That's-
fiscal year.
Right,
And what we're talking about is
Okay.
an increase in September
September.
to cover.
Okay, so everything,
I should
so
have
we're not
explained
gonna
it.
have to readjust something
No,
This new
to get the
position,
person on.
this
Okay,
new
good.
position
In
is
the
already
budget.
there.
Good, it's all in the
we're
budget.
covering it. It's in the
Perfect.
$7 million and one gross budget.
Okay, good.
The salary's there, so that's set.
And then do you have any contingencies on top of that for the other plans that we got going on between the East Drum wetlands and all this? Do you feel that the person's gonna be able to handle that, or are you still gonna have outside consulting from like Cardinal or whatnot, that we should have some?
Well, the design fees will be part of the project,
Right,
which was,
yeah, there'll be,
that's incorporated
there'll
in
be a
that capital.
firm
Okay.
designing it.
Okay, I just wanna make sure at least
there'll be a person
Good
that
question.
will be
Covered.
overseeing and
Okay.
questioning.
John's budget is the operating budget for the town. What you're talking about there is we have gone out and hired consultants through
Right.
the commission,
Oh,
through the reserves that we
Gotcha.
have
okay.
to cover
Okay.
projects.
Oh, so that wouldn't even be, that's outside budget then?
There are no projects in the in that
Okay.
7,000,001.
Right.
Those will come separately,
I got you, understood,
okay?
thank you. Okay. What do you guys normally do for increases?
Last year's, that 460 was a 5% increase over the prior year,
And then before that?
445.
Okay, so that's 445 to 460,
Right.
okay.
The year before that, it was 3.4%. And I can't go back any further.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty good that.
Wow. That's really. Okay.
Okay, and just to, the town budget, not us, but the town budget itself went up 0.96, just so you have that in your mind also, everyone, for the discussion. So the town budget, let's say, is 1% increase.
Right, yeah, exactly.
For the taxpayers, these are the ratepayers.
So when we had previously looked at this though, I mean, cause I think when we landed on the 5% for last year, it was because we were looking at that stuff, right?
We started looking at
Right.
this. Yes, that was the first.
But we kind of mapped out a few years, didn't we?
We did and we didn't.
Okay.
Because we mapped it out with the projects we thought that we'd be doing.
Right,
Those projects, we aren't doing. I mean, the map we had and the projects that we were using as the basis
understood, yeah.
got disconnected.
Right, exactly. I mean,
So-
but we still know though that we've got some really big ticket items on the horizon.
We do.
So,
I will send out to the commission, I have them laid out the way they originally were,
mhm.
you know, which would be 2024 was supposed to be the start of
Right, exactly.
$60 million
Yeah,
of
exactly.
spending, which
Right.
it may not
So
happen.
we're gonna be further out from there,
Right.
but we're still gonna have some big.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I think taking another look and doing our best guess, at least in terms of when we think those big ticket items, I mean, it's 3 or 4 projects really, but over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, and then see what we should,
Right.
I think that's the right way to approach this whole thing, is have a 5 to 10 year basis on why we're recommending
Mhm.
whatever increase this year, so. So I mean, given the current information that we have, I wouldn't have any, but I'd be throwing a dart with my eyes closed, I think, to pick which one of these.
No, I'm writing down, and I'm gonna try to get us
Right,
the information for the next meeting.
yeah, I think that would be
For the
great.
meeting that we're gonna actually, maybe
Right.
even the special meeting.
Well,
That would be the basis of.
It'd be nice if we can
the
actually
item on
have,
the agenda.
if we can have a somewhat united, idea of it ahead of the August
Oh,
one,
absolutely.
so that
You
we're
get
all.
it ahead of the meeting,
Right,
but
exactly.
certainly I'd put it together.
Of
for
course,
Discussion at that meeting.
exactly, yeah.
And on that, you said, well, we did a 5% last year,
Yes.
anticipating these certain things. So if I'm a town person and saying, well, I am a town person, I am already there, So- none of them got done, right?
Right.
The project split off, none of them got done.
Right.
So what happened to my 5% increase?
It's in our reserve right now.
So why am I getting an increase now?
Because if you look at what we need to do going forward, it's gonna be consumed.
But the reserve, but the 5% that we increased last year, we didn't even cover in the projects that we should be doing. I'm just taking it as a
No, no,
right,
I understand.
These are gonna be
I understand your question.
these are gonna be, it would be a question that I ask.
Of course,
I'm sitting in
yeah,
this room and saying, guys, we have a 5% that you did last year. You just told me that those projects kind of split. Things happen, things split. And the projects that we were supposed to be doing didn't materialize. They're in the works now and that.
Right.
So I had a 5% increase anticipating these projects. The projects didn't happen. So that went into
Where did your
reserve.
money go? It
Where
went
did the
into
money-
reserve.
So then, why am I being increased again this year for anticipating these projects that never happened?
So I can answer that already. The 5% before wasn't to cover any current charges anyway. So our plan was gonna be in 2025, a $60 million hit. And
we're
so
building for it.
we needed to start building our reserves so that we can get a huge hit in 2025. Otherwise, if we didn't do that, then it would be, we're staying flat here, and then all of a sudden now we have to have a 30% rate increase to cover, which nobody likes 5%, but people can't actually handle 30%.
But,
Like, that ends up being a huge.
I'm agreeing, but why aren't we bonding a lot of this?
This is bond.
That is
This
bond.
is considering
And
the
that
bonding.
is still, but still that we have our bonds that we gotta pay, we got that, but I'm assuming that if we got a $60 million project, we're not gonna be sitting here taking it all out of reserves. We're
No,
gonna be sitting here
no.
Bonding a lot, right?
We've got
So
to cover,
this is-
we've got to cover it
this is
with the rate
anticipating-
increase and reserves,
Right.
both.
And the $60 million project is the plant upgrades, which
Right.
have to be done,
Mhm.
all the other upgrades which are in the
process,
work.
Exactly.
On the chart.
And that's why we're anticipating
That's correct.
5% for the next 5 years.
So, we don't know what we're doing yet.
Yeah, we don't know what this
No, I'm
percentage is,
just
but that's why
trying to,
that's why we're
because-
anticipating a
Exactly.
rate increase
Right.
because
to
that,
cover
I'm,
the
would
future.
have the same questions if I was in the audience, saying,
Right.
well, what is this?
Right.
No, those good
Yeah,
questions.
just all these
No, that
things.
we need those questions.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is really to anticipate what's coming on before,
It's to avoid,
or in 2024, it's gonna be 30%.
it's to avoid any gigantic sledgehammer in a
This
few
is gonna
years.
cover the bonds of what we're
Exactly.
putting together for the
Right.
$60 million project.
But we're not gonna, I mean, if we only need 2 or 3%, or maybe even less than that this year, then that's what we'll move forward with. But that's why we need to do our homework and show our homework to the ratepayers, so.
What's the, what are the surrounding towns rates? Does anyone know what?
I think we had looked at them,
We
and
had
we're
a
in
list of them
good
at one
shape.
point, but that list goes back a few
Right.
years.
You have
Bridgeport was at
study in
$7.
2019, there was a study.
Right, Bridgeport, do you have the study?
I do.
Oh,
I don't have it with me, but I can
can
send it out.
you send it out? to them?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Could you put Danbury's on there?
I will put everything that an
Yeah.
engineer compiled, I think, just about the whole state.
Okay,
So
because I could get
will send it
Danbury's
to
if you need to, because they just did their plant upgrade, a big plant upgrade up there, and I'd be interested to see what they are, a rate now.
You'll notice that we were, and we still are, I believe, because everybody else is probably raising rates from 2 years ago when we did it. We're on the lower side.
I like being on the lower side.
So do we. We're all.
I like Fairfield, I like being on the lower side. That's what I like. My taxes are getting up to the higher side.
Right,
Which I don't like,
right.
but, okay, that's it.
Ron?
Joe, I
Yeah,
got
any
something
questions?
back in last year, that indicated that, they're looking at we're in the 22, 23, or is we looking at 23, 24?
22, 23.
22, 30, and 23. We were looking at a rate of $5 for a 6.4% increase. Okay, so that went down to 460. But at the time, we were looking at last year, we were looking at $5. And then the following year, $5.25. The following year, $5.50, $5.75, and then $6.33. I used to be the naysayer on this for 10 years until last year, where I'd say, we can't beat up the consumers, the residents. And but I've changed my tune there because I know that we've got to do something. We got to make sure that we do have a little nest egg to handle there. And to me, when you explain to somebody that it's a 10-cent increase, or for gas. So, I don't think we're wrong in going with your proposal is there. I'd do it at 470.
Okay, well, we're, at this point, we're not looking right now to pick one and to vote on it. We're just having the discussion, what we need for information
Yeah.
put in front of us so we can have the discussion.
Yeah, and so if last year we were proposing some more significant increase, chances are we may not need to do as significant now as we thought we did a year ago, because that $60 million hit's gonna be pushed out, so
Right.
we can
And-
delay a little bit.
And I will just remind the commission of two things. One is the town will pick up some of the plant based on our latest negotiations. I mean, that could change,
Right.
but they are willing to discuss it at least now. And number two is, the interest rates we were using last year and the year before are no longer valid. So when we
Right.
float a bond going forward, right now, the interest rates are up.
Yeah.
But those numbers, I'll make some assumptions
Sure, yeah.
and put them in the chart,
Okay. Sounds good.
okay?
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments on item C? Hearing none, we will move to item D, discuss, the affluent noncompliance on April 19th, 2022. I hate to introduce this topic, but John, please.
And I hate to talk about it, but, on the early morning of April 19th, we lost one leg of power coming into the plant from UI. So we only had two phase, so the lights were on, but nothing else. The generators didn't see a power failure, so they did not start. So anything three-phase was not working. So the influent pumps weren't running, the UV system wasn't working, the blowers, nothing that required three-phase. So until we got there, realized what the situation was, because we looked at the plant and we go, the lights are on, we know what's going on. We finally started all the generators and got power to everything. After we got the power on, we noticed we lost about $70,000 worth of equipment. A VFD for a raw pump, a VFD for a blower, 20 ballasts on the UV system at $1,800 a piece. Thankfully, we had stuff in reserve to get it back up and running. But because the power was off and the UV system was off, we didn't disinfect for an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
Which I made DEP aware of, and it's been reported and it's been rectified, so it's off the books. But it was reported, it was on our monthly operating report that we sent in on the 15th, so that's that. I've not heard anything from them. The one kind of saving grace is we had 1.5 inches of rain the night before, so when we have 1.5 inches of rain, they close the shellfish beds. So, kind of a blessing.
Lucky.
Right,
Lucky.
right, yeah, exactly.
So,
Did we lose any, electric motors?
no. Sensitive equipment like VFDs, we lost a zone valve, which adjusts the air, but there's the control board, we lost one of those. We
Yeah.
lost a couple of computers and,
But all the heavy equipment was okay,
yeah,
not just running two-phase?
because it wasn't running.
Was just shut, it was,
Right.
it wouldn't blow them off.
Yeah, no.
I was lucky.
Had that happened, then you'd see me at, well, you wouldn't see me, because I'd be in
Would've
Mexico.
Yeah, it would be.
It would've been
Devastating.
tried.
So,
It affected the fire training center, not as impactful, but, you know, they lost some stuff. The conservation building lost some stuff, they lost some stuff at the transfer station, so it wasn't a good day.
wasn't a good morning.
No.
So, based on that, and you said you used equipment you had.
Yep.
Do you need that equipment replaced for reserve? Do you have a list of what you might need to bring to the commission that we should replace?
The stuff I use for the UV, every year we have an allotment of money for replacement parts.
Okay, so
So-
you're in your budget,
We're-
we're fine until
right.
you.
Right.
Might need it later in the year or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So at the moment,
At the moment, nothing.
good, yes. But if we don't become good,
You'll let us know.
I'll be telling you.
Right.
Okay.
So how do we figure out the generator issue?
I have to get the generator company in there and pick their brain.
We just did this about a year ago, we got all new generators,
Well, we got a new one, at the admin building in November of last year.
and
The one across the street was 2017.
these are all three-phase
Yeah.
generators.
Yeah.
And the switch never switched.
They didn't see a power failure. It saw some power. I guess enough power not to start. I gotta find out, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've
tell
never
where
heard
you're
that
going.
before. But I've never really thought of it like that.
No, I haven't either. 3 generators, all 3 didn't start. Usually they have phase monitors on them, so when you lose a phase, that,
You're lucky you figured it out, because that could have been a
Oh.
big, dangerous problem too for people.
yeah, absolutely.
Especially with the lights going on, it gives
What
you the
what
false.
did ever sort of say, or,
Mhm.
Jim, or,
We lost a phase.
and they
One of our hot taps, fell off.
fell off?
Yep.
Right there at the, coming in?
Right in front of the fire training center.
I don't care. But they didn't pick up on it either.
No.
Yeah.
Go fire training center. Go back a year ago when Aquarion was messing with the water lines, and then we had effluent non-compliance 3 times. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, it's not our problem.
Yeah, that's on your end.
And on microgrid?
We're moving along.
No, in this situation.
Did the microgrid survive?
Did the microgrid survive?
Well, yeah, most of it's not up and
Oh,
up and running yet.
Luckily, it's not hooked up.
Okay, so we left out that it's not hooked up, therefore it didn't do it.
Yeah, we've been-
Oh, that's
That's better being lucky than good. Better being lucky than good.
Thanks for, all that equipment's still in the garage waiting to be put in.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Whoa.
Survived.
I think you're lucky you didn't have more damage.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have.
Yeah.
Ron, any questions
No,
on this topic? Okay,
no, no.
thank you. Hearing none, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to item E, which is discuss the digester cover issue. If you didn't like the fluid issue.
didn't like the
you're
first
gonna
one,
love the
you're gonna love
second
the second one.
I like the pictures.
The primary digester is a sealed unit. It's heated mixed, and on Sunday, the 24th, it popped the cover off. Didn't come completely off, but it ripped the bolts out of the concrete. So, do I know exactly what happened? No. What causes a digester cover to pop off? It's overfilled. So, my best guess is that the transfer line out plugged off. The pump kicked on. There was still mixing going on. We used the methane gas through 30-inch cannons inside the tank to mix the tank, and a combination of that. Pump kicking on, nothing going out in the gas mixing, popped it up. As of right now, we're only running through the one storage tank we have, so that's offline. We had an engineer, Wright Pierce, come in and kind of look to see what needed to be done. They're coming up with an RFP. There's been 3 contractors to look at it. We're just going along at a snail's pace just to figure out that town did file a claim to the insurance company. Adjuster called me today. He's coming out in the next week or so to see what is what.
So cover is still not fixed and.
Cover's still not fixed,
Right.
tank's not being used.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's the RFP that Wright Pierce is putting together? It's just for repair?
Repair to, so whoever kind of gives a price, they're all on the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Lift the cover, remove it or lift it and block it up there. Repair the concrete, clean the contents of the digester out, and then repair whatever pipework inside needs to be done.
Okay.
Digesters are supposed to be cleaned every 8 to 10 years. It hasn't been cleaned since 2000. So, that's probably part of the issue as well. But, happened on my watch, so.
How long does Wright Pierce anticipate the repairs should take, or did they not opine on that?
They didn't. I
Okay.
think the most time-consuming thing is to get the funding and get it
Right.
awarded to a contractor. So,
They were putting it together, this email went out like end of the month, April. They were supposed to have something together in like 2 weeks or so.
yeah, he said he was gonna have it to me today, middle of this week, but I didn't get nothing yet.
And then that's gonna go out to a three
Yeah.
contractors.
Are you gonna have to
kind
get
of
approval from the finance on how it's gonna get paid for, if the insurance company's gonna pay for it, or they're not gonna pay for it? Don't know.
How long, so what's the current operation then without the digester?
We're going to the storage tank. there's another digester, it's a storage tank that next to the digester, so when it left the digester, it went to the storage tank, and we processed out of that.
Okay,
Now we're just processing out of that, so
Right.
we're mixing raw and thick inactivated sludge,
mhm,
and we're processing, it's not going well,
right.
but it's the way we gotta go.
Way, okay.
How long can you keep that up?
That's what I was gonna ask.
After
Next
this-
question.
After this week, I don't know, but, I mean, we're doing the best we can, and I'm looking to get some tankers in there, hopefully next week, to get some of the stuff out.
Okay. Cause I'm a glutton for punishment, so I was gonna ask if there's any opportunities for upgrades or that type of stuff beyond just repairing the initial digester, but that just sounds like it's gonna add so much time
Yeah.
to the operation that it's probably not the right
Right.
time to be thinking of that.
Right.
so.
Right.
Okay, so let me just add a couple more questions.
Sure.
And you didn't indicate that there seems to be an accumulation of sand?
Correct. One of the,
To the engineer?
one of the contractors had, a dewatering company come out to look at, and they opened one of the sample ports and stuck a probe down there, and they're estimating 20 feet of sand.
In the
Now,
digester?
we stuck it a couple of years ago, and we kind of guesstimated maybe 7 to 10 feet.
Of sand?
Yeah.
How's sand
Brick.
getting in there?
Good question. What's the liner on that tank? That you were explaining to me?
Oh, well, the lid is sealed,
Right,
and part of that seal is sand.
oh, okay.
Now, is there 20 feet of sand in that seal? I
No,
doubt it.
Right,
But that tank was rehabbed in the upgrade in 2000.
okay,
So it was cleaned out. What happened was there was another primary digester that the contractor was supposed to transfer the usable stuff and then clean the rest of it and get rid of it. They transferred everything. So whatever junk was in that other one
got it.
made it over there.
Yeah, okay,
So we didn't start with a clean
right,
tank, and then subsequent tries to get it cleaned, just,
I just wanted you to hear that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's,
How does 20 feet or 7 feet sand get in a digester? Just for my,
we have tanks that are 3/4 of the way through the process, and we've taken them down, and at one point, during the construction in 2000, they actually dropped a skid steer loader down into that tank to scoop all the grit that had made it through the plant, through the grit chamber, into the wet well, pumped by the pumps, and just, it
Wow.
moves.
but is it just
Through the
from
pipe.
I&I coming through?
It starts from the pipes and comes all the way.
Comes all the way through. Yep.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the situation, Long Island Sound, with what's going on right now, we're comfortable.
Not impacted.
Not impacted,
No.
we don't anticipate any impact that we have to worry about
No.
for, okay?
No.
Yeah, good work. And then the last thing you brought up, when you were talking about the maintenance wasn't done since 2020,
22,000.
I'm sorry, 2000, for 10 years, 20. Do you have a list of all your equipment and when the last maintenance was done on it? So that we can look at it and say, gee, that's 30 years since we've done maintenance on it, we might get ahead of this somehow? I don't know if we would have gotten ahead of this one,
right,
but
yeah.
is there a maintenance
We have a maintenance program.
I know that, but do we have one on every piece of gear that might have a problem? You don't have to answer the question now, I'm just
Yeah, no,
asking.
yeah, we do.
Okay, and you're confident that there's nothing that we need to make a decision on to to do something, preventive maintenance on right now?
Not right now, no.
Okay. That's,
Moving forward, probably.
yeah, well,
Yep.
please, bring it to
Yep.
us.
Yep.
Please.
Even just identifying best practices that aren't necessarily happening would be
Because
good to
when they
know.
when they finally fix it, my recommendation would be to replace the pressure relief valve on top,
Right,
which releases the gas, and the level sensor, replace that, and look at the piping that goes between one and the other. Because we're having an issue, we have an ongoing issue with struvite. I don't know if you know what struvite is, but it builds up. It's three chemicals or three compounds that when it hits air, they like cement. So they'll line pipes, whatever, it'll just gravitate to anything having to do with digested sludge.
You're currently using the methane to heat the sludge, right? It's
Yeah,
closed, yeah.
yep.
And then you're not using all of it though, right? Are you flaring or?
Well, not anymore, because we're not making any.
Well, right.
When we were making it, we were using it to mix, we were using it to heat, and then we were flaring off whatever
Right.
had left over. Yeah.
Was there a lot of leftover or no?
Yeah, with the flare ran all the time.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions on item E?
Yeah.
Thank you, John, for
Thank you,
sharing,
John.
for sharing that. Believe you me, I wish I didn't have to.
April.
Oh, yeah, it was not a good 5 days,
Wow, yeah, right.
But May's been okay so far.
so far.
Okay. Under 4, old business, the East Trunk Wetlands costs got on the Board of Selectmen's agenda for voting. Nobody knows how, it somehow came off the waterfall. We have never voted on it. We have never gotten a good cost estimate on it. So I wanted to make sure it was on the agenda so I could ask this question. How do we get a good cost estimate? I mean, the East Trunk Wetlands, as you brought up earlier, is right in the middle of where all the development is
Yep,
happening right now in
right.
Fairfield, a great deal of it,
Right.
not all of it,
Yep.
certainly, we got other places. But how do we get a handle on getting a cost for that East Trunk Wetlands? I know we've got a couple of proposals, on how to do it. How do we move this forward, would be the discussion I would love to have.
So who did that? Is that one's D&B?
Yes, D&D.
And they had some, I mean, on that last call, I don't know if the last call I was on was the last thing that happened on it.
It was, yeah.
So they owe us a couple different,
They were waiting on the town end, because we said we wanted to look into directional drilling, and we were,
I thought we wanted them to look into it.
well, they were under the impression that we were gonna get back to them. So the engineering department at the town is
Looking at that?
is giving them their marching orders, according to John Marsilio.
Okay.
Get it figured out and get us something, a price to bid with an ad alternate to directional drill.
Okay. So I mean, I had looked into directional drilling and it's not, these aren't the ideal environment for it, because you don't want to be completely submerged in water. But I wanted the their geotech person to look at it and say if it's fine or
Feasible.
not. Right, yeah, exactly.
All right,
But
so,
it seemed like that never happened, I guess.
But I'm just trying to go through my emails. I think John Marsilio was gonna have a sit-down after the 16th. He was supposed to reach out, and then we were gonna try to look at projects going forward.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that hasn't, I haven't seen anything
No.
since then.
That
That's
hasn't-
what I was just trying to find. I got right here, John Marsilio is getting back to work. Would like to have a sit-down with the 4 of us to go
Right,
through his
yeah.
thoughts on projects
Right.
now in the future, most likely after the 16th.
I will ask move on it.
Okay.
I forgot all about that.
okay, so that's this.
That was,
The
goes,
16th
that
was
goes into
Monday of
that.
this week,
Right,
so we're
yeah,
rolling.
exactly.
And then also,
Yeah.
yeah, then, because then I think that would go into what engineering is doing
Right.
to get engineering.
And then was there another option to even consider looking at any alternative routes, rerouting the flow? Was that just not feasible from
I
the
don't-
start, or?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was. I think it was-
Originally, they had a plan to route it along Ash Creek, or not through the street, along,
Right,
and that one was sort of by the wayside. I don't know who
Okay.
voted it down, but it was just too dangerous to put it out there.
right, okay.
Uh,
And is this is the one that the pipe is too small, but we think it might be in good condition?
Yeah, this is a
That-
33-inch that's
right,
in good shape, but it's too small.
Okay.
right.
And what about that option that, I think Chris had presented it about, putting a second,
On
like,
top.
basically an
I don't
overflow
think they
pipe
like
on
it, because
top?
I think it wouldn't, I don't think it was giving them the right, I don't think it was gonna work.
I
'Cause
would
I
want
think they
someone
were
to
saying-
model it before ruling it out.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that happening, but I just feel like logically it makes sense.
I think they had more of an issue with, was that the one with they had more of the issue with the constriction? or is this the same one?
Well, it goes from what, like 36
It goes
down to 30 and then back to
30,
36.
then back to 36.
Right.
Yeah,
So I mean, a 30 plus an 8 is
Right.
more than 36. I don't know if it's the same volume, but it's,
The studies that were done by the groups trying to develop the Metro Center said, well, no, that 33-inch pipe can carry the flow we're gonna send it, which might be the case, but with 2/3 of the flow coming through there,
right.
heavy rain,
Yeah.
add more
it-
flow, it's
Obviously, we have to upsize
Yeah.
that capacity, but I'm just wondering if there's other ways to upsize the capacity besides, I mean, like we talked about pipe bursting potentially, or,
All right, but it sounds like John will put a meeting together with you three
Right.
and
Yeah.
John.
Yep.
And you'll at least identify all the options and
Yeah.
hopefully get some costing on them.
yeah, we talked about this over a month ago. and
Okay,
there's
so it sounds like
nothing has
something's
happened.
going on
How,
now that Chris points out that
with-
there should have been a meeting happening.
with the potential new person, when do you think that would be moving forward, and when do you think they would be online?
the funding isn't available till July 1.
July 1? And do you think it would be worth, since it's gonna be June, if we're gonna be setting up a meeting, trying to get this person involved directly with this
100%.
online?
100%.
And do you think it would be, do you think it's worth waiting on the meeting and not
No.
wasting everyone's time, or you wanna keep going?
I think we should-
I'm up for
I think we
whatever,
should
I
keep
just,
going.
Yeah, I think you guys would probably get a better handle on where the town's coming from when John speaks, because he's kind of
Right.
got his focus and his drive to, and you'll see where he's coming from.
okay, sounds good.
I think when the other person's on, we could step back a little bit, but I don't think we need to hold it up waiting for the other
She's
person.
not gonna come on running anyway.
Exactly,
By
yeah.
the time she,
Good
it
luck.
could be months.
Don't scare them.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
You
Everything's
might wanna hold off on this for a little bit.
Wait a second.
The first month, the first month, these little jobs, oh yeah, you know, it's fine, so why don't you go check that pipe out over there?
Check Carriage Drive, check Carriage Drive.
Check Carriage Drive. How's that going? Are they putting it in okay? That's the biggest thing we've got going on right now.
Okay. The next item is update on the current projects.
Carriage Drive got approved by Board of Finance.
Good.
Awesome.
Bill Hurley talked to the engineer that drew up the plans, yesterday, or Monday, one of those days. They went over the plans, the engineer's gonna finalize them, they're gonna get a bid document together, and then it'll go out. So that'll be.
And that project was approved by the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with $325,000. Where that number came from, nobody knows. 296 was a number that the engineering department put out. Oh, no, 296 was the number from the bid, the original bid.
Yep.
And then we put, whoever got involved, I won't say who, put it up to 325 for contingency and anything else that could happen. So, fingers crossed that that's enough money for Carriage Drive.
Right,
And they're
yeah.
picking up half, and we're picking up half.
Correct,
Yep, right.
correct.
So they'll pick up their half, they'll have a lien against their house and bond it at the current rate.
Yeah, should be enough.
How many feet?
I think about 680, was it, 600 feet?
Yeah, I think it might be close to 800.
800 feet, is it either 680 or
Yeah, something like that.
something like that?
So that's moving forward. I don't have a list of the other projects, but the microgrid is back up and running.
I mean, oh my God.
Microgrid's back
Right,
up, moving along.
Go microgrid.
Been discussion with UI and all that other stuff, but Yankee Electric's there doing work, so that's moving forward. Hardening is almost done, finally. East Trunk, I don't know what's going on with that. That's just kind of mired in the mud. We already talked about the wetlands. I don't remember what.
East Trunk is Cardinal.
Yeah.
But they were gonna, what was that? I thought
Cardinal
they-
gave us the scope for a lot of things.
But they were
I
gonna
had
go back,
said-
they were gonna go
I
back
said
and
I like
relook
the
at.
idea of additional geotech, but nothing else from them. But I don't know, I think that's one of the things that gets on that list for the meeting.
I think that was with John
They were
Bodie.
doing the borings,
We need more borings.
Yeah.
right, that was where it got hung up,
And you
I
were looking
remember.
more for, like directional our drilling,
Well,
drilling, so we don't
we
have
need
to
the
be too
borings to
much.
find out whether or not we can actually do directional drilling.
The outfall,
Outfall has been, we spent the money to come up with a way to isolate the pipe. There's 5 options. We really don't need to discuss them because the engineer that came up with the 5 options said, listen, you're gonna do an upgrade in the next 5 years. You're gonna have to add another effluent channel. That's gonna be offline. Do your repair then. Do it then. Well, you're
Yeah, makes sense.
so that's being curbed for now. So there's some grant money that associated with that, and that'll be given back because it expires the end of June.
And from a risk standpoint, you're totally fine with punting that until the plant upgrade?
It's treated effluent.
Right, yeah.
The last time a visible leak was 2012. Since then, it hasn't bubbled up on the road, it hasn't eroded anything, it hasn't,
Right.
it might have sealed itself. Don't know.
and then the pump station on Fairfield Beach.
Fairfield Beach, we gotta get a hard number to get,
Right.
again,
We need a good quote.
because the number that came up for the last Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance was 2.1 million. And Joe has a very good theory on that. It was on a waterfall for 2.1, how they got it, I don't know. But I asked Dennis from Wright Pierce, is that a good number? He says,
No,
you gotta look.
When we did the Easton Pump Station, which was the last pump station we did, it was for 2.1 million. It was bid for 2.1 million, and the force main was bid for 3.2 million. When the project was done, it was done for the total cost, it was correct, but it reversed. The pump station was over 3 million, and the force main was 2.1 million, okay? But we also had the added, issue with, there was dirt that was supposed to stay on Sacred Heart's property. Once the project got going, they wanted it off.
Right.
That was like 400,000, if I remember the number. So I think the 2.1, my own theory, is, it was just taken from, that was what the pump station was bid at. That was
Right, yeah,
the original budget for the pump
Recycled.
station up there.
Yeah.
Hey, you've seen one pump station, you've seen them all. But I don't think that was a good number, so we pulled that off the agenda. We need to get a better estimate
Okay.
before we go forward with
What's
Fairfield
the
Beach.
scope on the pump station, on Fairfield Beach pump station? Total replacement, or?
Yeah, I mean, not the building so much, but,
Right.
Just the pumps, the structural steel staircases, platforms,
Okay.
the force main from the plant,
How deep
from the,
is that one? It was like, what is it, like, what, a 15-inch or 15, like a big chamber?
it's a dry well and a wet well.
It is.
I think it's 20 feet
Oh,
deep. So they want, Wright Pierce did a pump station study back in 2017. And they're right up, at that time, it was gonna cost 1.654 million. But that was 5 years ago.
Right, yeah.
So there's 2 pumps there, they wanna add, they suggested adding the 3rd pump, new controls, new generator, check the structure to withstand hurricane winds, a flood of however many feet and all that other stuff.
Okay. Structural's in pretty good shape, other
Yeah.
than replacing the stairs and stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, yeah. There's some boards that make up the 2nd floor in the dry well side, that's probably, well, it's been there since 1959. So those might be worth something, I don't know.
wow. Now,
Make a table out of it.
Right, yeah.
is it up to FEMA? Do we have to get involved with, FEMA if we're,
I don't think so, but we might have to look at what FEMA considers flood stage
yeah,
and protect it from that flood stage. I know when Sandy came across, we were probably 8 inches from coming in the door.
so do you think we're gonna have to adjust the structure though, then, if we're that, or?
Yeah, we might, hardening, build
Right, yeah,
a wall around it.
Oh, the neighbors will love that.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh, you're gonna love down there.
We'll plant.
Tall arborvitae, 30-foot tall arborvitae. then the deer are gonna eat all the bottoms
Oh,
around here, and they're gonna be gone. They're gonna be the bare arborvitae's on the bottom.
All right.
Watertight door.
Yes.
And just so we know we're so coordinated, they are repaving Fairfield Beach Road this week. So.
Perfect.
They
It's
will
already started.
do the force main
And rip it all up.
and rip it all up again. Not good.
All milled.
Not good. Any bypass,
One. Unfortunately, on the 14th of April, Sunny Ridge and Stevens Lane, there was a blockage, grease and rags. We lost probably 1,400 gallons on the road, 1,500 gallons onto the road.
Okay.
We since TV'd that line, there is heavy grease in that line, so we're going to be maintaining that, cleaning it up and keeping after it.
Is that anything related with traps not working or not
I don't think
being
there's any,
inspected, or it's
there's
just-
no business, all residential.
It's all residential,
so- Which
okay.
was very puzzling as to
Yeah.
how much grease was in the line.
Right.
It was phenomenal how much was in
Somebody's
there.
eating a lot of bacon.
There's a cholesterol problem in that area.
There's a little bit of a problem on that street.
anything else we need to talk about, John?
I think we've talked about enough.
Okay. I'm willing to entertain a motion.
Motion to, what's the motion, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Rob?
Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sheila.
Sheila,
We probably put her to sleep.
guys ready?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good.